Hello and welcome back to the Franchise Growth Pod. Oh my gosh, I stumbled over my words there. That was rough. Welcome back to the Franchise Growth Pod. My name is Belle. I'm the Director of Marketing here at AC Inc. And I'm here today with our VP of Operations, Jen. Welcome, Jen.
Thanks for having me, Val.
Of course, always a fave. Today, Jen, we're going to be talking about the Academy, which I know we've been talking about a lot lately, but it's just so exciting and we've been getting really, really good questions, lots of excitement online. So I wanted to do an episode where we answered some of the frequently asked questions. A lot of this information is info you can find on our website, but I think it's fun sometimes to just go over some of the questions and just get your insights into some of the pieces, like what to expect out of the courses, that kind of thing. So we're going to dive into that in a second, but of course, we're going to start off today's episode with an icebreaker question, as we always do. And in full transparency, I'm going to make up this question on the spot. So if it's bad, you won't get upset. Okay, here, what's a good question? We've talked a lot about how you're a big traveler. Have I asked you what your favorite trip is that you've ever taken? Have I asked you that before?
I think you have.
Okay, I'm gonna find something else. Hold on.
Okay. Ask me what my next trip is because I'm in the middle of planning that.
Oh my gosh, what is your next trip? That's a
Well, it's not my next trip. I am a big traveler, so I've already got a family trip to Cancun on the books. I've got Grenada for a week on the books, but right now we are planning our Europe vacation for next September. And it looks like we're going to do it's mostly Greece, but it's going to be one stop, maybe in Venice or Paris for a few days. And then we're going to do Athens and a couple of the islands. So very excited about that.
That sounds amazing. Oh, I'm so jealous. I need to plan a trip. That's on my list. Not even the going on the trip, just planning the trip is on the list. Have you been to Greece before?
Never. It's always been on my bucket list, and it was supposed to be our honeymoon. Because my husband and I are on second marriages, and we got married in 2018. But I can't remember why we didn't do it. But
did you end up going somewhere else?
Well, we got married in Jamaica,
so yeah,
like that, right? And so we've been talking about Greece for a long time, and now we're gonna have all the kids out of the house. So next September, so it's like they're going to be away at college and university. So we'll have a couple of weeks that we can get away and not have to worry about kids at home.
That sounds amazing. We cannot wait to hear. I'll have to ask you for some travel planning updates, I guess, in the next year. Speaking totally randomly of Venice, I actually went to see A Haunting in Venice, the movie that just came out. We went to the VIP theater, those ones where they have the recliner chairs. First time ever. We got some random discount code thing, and it was so fun. Such a very spooky movie. I think this episode is coming out in October. If anyone is looking for a spooky, scary movie, it was really fun. It was very Halloween-y. It's based on an Agatha Christie novel called Halloween Party, is what the movie is based on. So it was very spooky, scary. Based in Venice, very pretty. Actually, a lot of the Venice stuff was very beautiful. That'll be very fun to go visit there. Okay, enough talk about travel. We're going to get into the Academy. So first of all, if someone is listening to this and they're like, what is the Academy? Quick background, we launched this a few weeks ago, and it is something that has been in the works pretty much since Angela came up with the idea for AC Inc. years and years ago. She had always wanted to put together a university or a education curriculum of courses specifically for coaching franchisees. So for operations roles or leaders within the operations space, and then specifically for field coaches or those who work directly with franchisees. So this is a full curriculum of online live courses. Almost all the courses are 3 weeks long with one 90-minute session each week. And they work you towards a level 1, 2, or 3 certification. So really, really exciting. First time in the industry ever that a franchisee support or coaching role can become certified and have a whole bunch of professional development, like elite industry leading professional development that you can use on your resume, for your leveraging leveraging in your system, leveraging in your recruitment and your development, and just getting your franchisees better results, seeing more royalties, profitability, all that amazing stuff. So really exciting program. As I said, we launched it a few weeks ago, and we've been getting a lot of excitement, and then also a lot of questions, just the way we have it organized on the site. There's lots of information. So sometimes people go through a couple of sections and are like, okay, I have some questions. So we're going to address a few of those today. First one is going to be a nice, easy one for you, Jen. Jen's scared that I might ask her a really hard question.
Yeah, don't do that. I like to I like to know the answers.
I will not ask you questions you don't know the answer to, promise. Can you take courses if you are not a field coach? Like, we have a big curriculum. We've got the upcoming content calendar listed on our site. We had a few people take a look at some of the titles and stuff and just go, well, do I have to be in a specific role to take this? Or is this going to be applicable even if I'm not in that specific role? And what would you say is something to keep in mind if you're looking at whether to take this if you are not in that very specific field coach role?
I think you can absolutely take some of these courses. You may not getting the certification may not be right for you if you are not a field coach, but certainly we've got a lot of courses around communication and some techniques and strategies of just working with franchisees that will certainly be applicable in many of the different roles in franchising. So it's just a matter of looking at the courses that are of interest that you think might be of benefit, and absolutely it's definitely an option.
Amazing. Yeah, that was definitely something. Is we had a few people, because our upcoming one, which we'll talk about in a minute, is our communication course. And that one, we've definitely had a few people ask, like, oh, this would be awesome, but I work in marketing, or I work in the finance part of a system. Like, is this going to be applicable? And yeah, for a lot of the topics, they do get very specific about actually the coaching strategies and stuff, but then some of them are really just about working with franchisees. I think that's perfectly put. And that actually brings us to our next question, which Angela has addressed a couple times on the podcast and on LinkedIn. She's put out a post about this as well. But just to make it super clear, people have been asking about whether they need to become certified. Like, if I take one of these courses, do I need to go through the whole certification, or can I just take a couple, like just ones that would be valuable to me? Or do I need to go through and become level 1, 2, or 3 certified?
No, you absolutely don't need to worry about the certification if it's not right for you and you just want to spot take courses that are of interest to you, or you think, oh, I could really use that, then absolutely, you do not have to go through the certification.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important to say too, because really, we ultimately designed this as really premier source of professional development. That's really the source of why we wanted to create all of this. But then to build on the value that you're going to be getting when you take, our level 1 certification is 4 courses long. And in those 4 courses, like, we really wanted to validate, of course, how much gathering all that information, going through these processes, taking our level 1-on-1, which I'll explain in a second, but our actual like certification and completion course, where you actually get to implement and work on case studies with fellow coaches and that kind of thing. When you do that, we just wanted to add that certification to validate all that information, and then be able to leverage that within your system, within your development process, all of that. So really, like, putting into words the value that you're getting from that professional development side. So I think that is really important to note. Okay, so I just wanted to give, this is something that I'll just answer for you, Jen. But I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer, because we had talked about kind of the different courses. Most of the courses are 3 weeks long, as I said. Our very, very first course that Jen and Steph actually just ran for the first time back in the summer is actually 6 weeks long. So the very, very first course is 6 weeks long, and then all the rest are 3 weeks long. In level 1 there, which is what we're running for the next few months, is all the level 1 courses. But the level 111, that's what we're calling it, our certification and completion course, that course has to be taken after you've taken the rest of the level 1 courses. So you have to take level 101, 102, 103 before you can take that 111. All the rest of the courses you can take interchangeably. You don't have to take 101 and then 102. You could take 102 and then 103 and then 101. You can mix them up depending on what works for your schedule. If you go look at our upcoming content calendar, you can see what works for you. But the 111 is designed to validate and to show to us that you took in the value from those other courses and can actually implement that into things like case studies, presenting examples and how you would actually leverage that information. So I did just want to note, we've had a couple people ask about how those courses are a bit different. And I did just want to say that's how they're different, is they're really supposed to be more implementation, less instruction and interaction, and more focused on the actually showcasing your abilities that you've learned from the other level 1 or the other level 2 courses, depending on which one you're working on. So that was a quick just little aside on more the admin side for anyone who'd been wondering about those ones. Okay, Jen, talking about the leveraging of the certification. So obviously the leveraging of professional development, a lot of people are really aware of how we use, professional development courses and education and trainings. We obviously become better at what we do. We learn new information, we gain new perspectives, gain tools, and sometimes even validate what we're currently doing. So making us feel even more confident in what we are doing with our franchisees, in our systems. But when we're talking about leveraging the certification, things like development, recruitment, hiring, all of those types of things, do you want to just go through a couple examples of how we've kind of seen brands, even working with us, leverage their, like when they're leveling up their field coaching, how do they leverage that within their system to see the value kind of across different areas of the business?
Sorry, can you clarify the question, Belle?
Oh,
I
yeah.
missed your meaning.
When I talk way too long, the question gets too convoluted. Classic. So what I was meaning is we've got kind of we know why professional development is valuable. We talk a lot about why, that matters, but specifically talking about having coaches that are certified or coaches that are leveling up their skills and techniques. How can people use that within their system? Like we've even seen people put it on their franchise websites or things, or in their recruitment process, kind of using that as a way to stand out against other options. I'm trying to think of some other examples. But like maybe any other examples you can think of how you could take the certification, the course, the professional development that you're providing to your team. How does that kind of just impact your whole system? Not just it's really good to have people get better at their jobs, but leveraging kind of different parts of your franchise system.
Well, I think it's even goes beyond just getting better at your job. It's making sure, because there's nothing like this that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And so when brands are hiring field coaches, quite often they're looking, hey, have you been a field coach at another brand before?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hiring. Oh, and I like you. Okay, great. You're now our field coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we don't know who knows what they've been trained on or how they've been trained in that other brand. And so if we're looking at the certification, we know that anyone that's gone through it, that they have gone through a curriculum that is based on industry best practice.
Yeah.
And a solid curriculum, expert level curriculum that has been designed based on that. And so you can then use that for even your hiring, looking for people that have that, because then you know what level that you're getting of expertise in that area, or being able to, with your franchisees, letting them know that, hey, we have invested in our team in the professional development to get them accredited, as opposed to just, oh, they've just taken this one course to become better. This is a full, a curriculum on pretty much anything that a field coach will have to do or deal with, or the strategies or the techniques and whatever it might be. So I think it really is just taking your field coaches, leveling them up and being able to, if you use it as a recruitment tool, and or onboarding tool to get them the training that they need. It is just, just such a positive thing.
So positive. Those were so many good examples. Yeah, I think, there's the recruitment and the hiring piece, for sure, the development, using that in your recruitment process, but also the explaining to franchisees, and validating, we don't, we're not just saying we care about franchisee support and success. We're backing it up with actual courses and certification, and making sure our coaches are going to provide the very best based on industry best practices. Being able to actually show how that's happening is such a huge part of actually standing out when you're talking about franchisee success and performance and all those pieces. Go ahead.
Sorry about one thing I wanted to say. One of the big things, yes, we're doing a lot of strategies and techniques and things like that a franchisee is not necessarily going to recognize, oh, my coach is really good at active listening or whatever it might be. But what we're also teaching is our 6 session course, the baseline is really the strategic growth coaching. So the framework behind effective coaching, which again, there's nowhere else that you're going to get that. And it's all about not just being a problem solver and a consultant with, working with franchisees to give them the answers to their problems, but how do you coach them to see results and get them to create actionable steps that we can keep them accountable to. And so that framework alone, as well as how to develop a framework for your sessions of what are all the things you're going to do. Because a lot of coaches just get in there and it's like, okay, what's going on? Tell me what you're up to. Let's solve a couple of problems. Okay, great. Checked. Yep. Talk to you in October. Great. And we are really so on the other end of that. And it's really some of these very tangible frameworks that we want to teach coaches.
Oh, I love that so much. I think that's a really, really good piece, is the tangible pieces you're actually going to see, that franchisees are going to feel the direct impact of having an actual framework, having those calls have a structure to them, making sure they're actually be getting followed up on some of those pieces, even just the way that spreadsheet is designed. All of that I think is super, super valuable. And then also the resources too. I think that's something we talked about a little bit, but the resources and actual tools that you're going to get to. And some people have even said like, oh, I have something kind of like this, but it's not at all organized in a way that's like easy, or for me to be able to like replicate easily. I have to like redo all this info every time, like even just things like that, and getting to share in those resources and assets, as well as the interaction with fellow field coaches, and getting that expert facilitation and the curriculum and all of that. So lots and lots of value, and lots of ways to be leveraged throughout a system for success. Talking about the structure of the sessions. So we've had a couple people ask, because typically, when you hear like online course, even live online course, sometimes people are like, is this like a webinar? Like, am I hopping on and you're just like going to walk me through some slides that I really could just look at myself? Or maybe is it even pre-recorded and I'm just hopping? So we're here to eliminate some of those myths about what these sessions are like. So Jen, let's maybe touch on, are they pre-recorded? Are they actually live? Do I actually get to interact at all? Is it just walking through a few slides and that's it? Let's just dispel any myths about what it actually is.
Yeah, it's not any of those things. And we designed it because we recognize, if in our work with franchisees and franchisors, and when we go and we will facilitate roundtables and things like that, some of the best learning is from each other, and hearing from your peers is so valuable. And so our facilitator is really there, yes, absolutely, to teach, because participants come to learn. So to teach, but a lot of discussion and interaction and hearing from each other, and doing, some breakout rooms and doing some problem solving, doing some assignments. There's all kinds of different things to really mix it up. And it's absolutely not just a webinar style presentation. We try to make it fun, and just as much interaction and engagement as we can get, because that's how we reinforce and hear from one another, and also give you guys an opportunity to see what other people are doing, or other people's perspectives, and that kind of thing. So it is absolutely not just a webinar or a pre-recorded training session, if you will.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's important to hear from your mouth for sure, is that it's not any of what we were just saying. It's very much a participation driven, very live. That's why also we had built it. I know you and Steph have put so much incredible work into building out so many of these courses and each session and all of that over the past year and more. But building out, making them very digestible into those 90-minute sessions, trying to get as much content in there as possible while also leaving the time for interaction. And then also, there's a reason that these courses are mostly 3 weeks long, really making them accessible, making them something where you can hop on live. You're not like watching something, while you're doing dishes and just listening or something like that. These are actually very participatory. And for that reason, we obviously didn't want to make them, huge chunks of big days during the work week. So trying to make them as accessible to be live and interactive as possible. Okay, last question. I'll just finish this one because I know we're finishing up. But last question, just a small one about how long certifications last. The certifications level 1 certification is a lifelong certification. So you are welcome to retake courses in the future. We're always updating and making sure our content is as refreshed as possible for industry best practices. But your level 1 certification will last you your career, which is incredible, so exciting. Mostly we designed it that way because the level 1 pieces are all very foundational. So all the communication tools, the motivation piece, the coaching structure. We talked a lot about that strategic growth coaching structure and actually how to foundationally, like all the basics of coaching franchisees, what that looks like, how to actually put it into action, the communication for that. So those 4 courses, once you take those, you are set to be level 1 certified for life, which is awesome. Level 2 and level 3 are a lot more in-depth. They get a lot deeper into some bigger coaching topics. These are more for people who actually do field coaching, whereas level 1 can be taken by people who work with franchisees, want to just become better at supporting and coaching their franchisees in whatever role they have. But the level 2 and level 3 get a lot deeper, a lot more courses involved. You get to take electives to fill in your skill set. And so for those, we have a renewal. So every 2 years, you just take any 3-week course that we have. We have lots of specific courses, like elective courses on things like coaching metrics or like very specific, or you could retake one of the courses you really enjoyed in the past with any refreshed content. But every 2 years, you would take one course and that's going to renew your certification there. So that's just, the basics of level 1, you're good. Level 2 and level 3, every 2 years, you just get to take one more course. Sometimes people would want to take more anyways, but you would just take one every 2 years to keep that certification live on our registration. I think that is it, Jen, unless you can think of anything else I am missing.
No, I just wanted to make one note, because some coaches may think, you know what, I've been doing this a long time. We've had coaches, even the last course we did, doing it for 25 years. I think the important thing to remember is just like franchisees coming to another training session to refresh their skills, or going to a conference and hearing things like, oh, I know I should do that, but it's really good to hear it again. And this course, there's definitely going to be things that you may think, you know what? Yeah, I've got that. No problem. I've been doing this a long time, but guaranteed there's going to be nuggets, there's going to be things, there's going to be good reminders, there's going to be new approaches. Things change and evolve. Things are much different. And the best practices are much different from what we've seen in our work with franchise systems in 2023 than they were even 10 years ago. And there's a lot of systems out there that aren't necessarily evolving. So it might be a really good opportunity for those field coaches to come and sharpen those skills, learn some new nuggets and some new things, and get kind of refreshed with maybe a new approach that you've never tried before. So I do encourage, just because you've been doing this a long time, there's always things that we can be learning and developing our skills.
So important. And such a big kind of, I don't know, pillar of what we believe too in terms of professional development. We are constantly talking about that, about the value of, again, there's either validating what you're currently doing and having even more confidence that that's the best practice, versus hearing a new perspective or a new approach, as you said, or getting a new tool that's going to really level up what you're doing, or hear something totally brand new that you're not doing at all. Like, there's all these different ways that professional development helps us. And it's not always coming in with zero information. And in fact, professional development is refining and improving and refreshing constantly. It's not training, which is initially learning all those basic skills if you're coming into a space brand new. So yeah, these are professional development courses. That's the way they're designed. I think that's a really important thing to clarify before we finish up here. Thank you so much, Jen. This was so fun.
My pleasure.
Love to talk about the Academy. Could do it all day. Love to talk to you. Could do that all day. Thank you again, everyone, for listening. We will be back next week. And until then, go be awesome.